All right, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. Thank you for attending. Hopefully you're in the right place. Today we're going to be talking about some research that we've done here at CERDAC, specifically around the unlocking the top 10 CMMS benefits for life sciences. And so with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So this is me. My name is Jan Banducci. I'm the Director of Product Marketing and CERDAC Research here at SIMCO. My background is in engineering, mechanical specifically, and then I was in a product manager for a long time. And the last decade or so, I've been focused mostly on marketing and product marketing. I also have a Lean Six Sigma yellow belt. For those of you that don't know what that is, it is essentially a methodology for problem solving that revolves around using data to improve efficiency and reduce waste. So we're really big on that here at SIMCO. Roughly 2/3 of our employees have some kind of Six Sigma yellow belt, pretty common thing in a lot of manufacturing environments as well. So it helps us understand how our software is used and helps us make improvements in that software. I'm based here in Santa Clara, California, so it's about an hour south of San Francisco, home of the 49ers, if you're into football. Okay. So today we're going to talk about some of the research that we've done recently. So we'll talk a little bit about the survey that we've conducted around specifically the life sciences, and then talk about the results of that survey. Essentially, we asked folks what are the top 10 benefits that they see from their CMMS. And then we also asked some follow-up questions about what are some of the top challenges they've come across in achieving each of those benefits. So we've got a lot of data, we've sorted it, we've organized it, we've hopefully made it easier to digest for you. And so we'll talk about some of those today. It's roughly 25 minutes I'll be speaking, and then we'll have some time at the end here for questions and answers. All right. I should mention, if you do have any questions, use the chat function or the questions function at the bottom. You should see a little button at the bottom of your screens if you want to ask questions as we're going, and we'll get to them all at the end. Okay, so quick introduction. So computerized maintenance management systems are used across a wide variety of industries. And so for our survey here, the life sciences industry, it has a pretty unique set of maintenance challenges. A lot of that is driven by the types of products that are made in life sciences. They're things that you're pharmaceuticals that you're ingesting or medical devices that might be inside somebody's body. There's a high degree of safety that's required for most of the life science products. And so with that becomes a lot of regulation, and specifically around the equipment, the maintenance of equipment that helps make those types of products. And so there's some really unique challenges in the life sciences industry. And so what we did, we wanted to understand what those challenges are and how people are using computerized maintenance management systems to address those challenges. So we commissioned a survey of 300 industry professionals to better understand the benefits that they're seeing. And so again, most of the people that we've surveyed, they're not users of CERDAC, which is our product here. They're users of a CMMS in general, so computerized maintenance management system. That's what we were interested in finding out, what benefits are they deriving from those systems, not specifically ours, but CMMS in general. Okay. So a little bit about who responded to our survey. So we have some pretty good tools in terms of how we go about reaching people. And so for our life sciences survey, you can see on the far left here, the industry split. We've got roughly a third for each of these: medical devices, pharmaceutical, and biologics. So roughly a third, a third, a third for each of those. In terms of company size, sometimes the maintenance procedures are different at small companies versus large companies. So we actually got a pretty decent spread of company size. That's by revenue, those numbers there at the bottom. You can see that, the majority of them is in that 51 to 250 million, which is considered as kind of a small to medium-sized life sciences company at 24%. And you can kind of see a reasonable spread across the other ones. So a good spread of company size in terms of our survey results. And the department, you'll notice that the big lion's share of folks, the department they work in at their company is operations, which is no surprise. That's typically where maintenance functions are found. But we also got a pretty good spread between facilities and quality and maintenance, all around the 15% range, and a little bit of calibration folks. So 8% in folks who've responded to this survey are out of calibration. So that's who all these answers come from, and we'll go ahead and dive into the details of what we learned from these folks. Okay, so this is the top benefits of a CMMS identified by the survey respondents. And so the way this was presented to them was, here's 10 benefits of a CMMS, please choose the top 4. And so after we aggregate all the data from these 300 people, you can see the results here at the right-hand side of the screen. This is in order. You can see all the way from 51% all the way down to 15% based on whatever that benefit was. And so the high-level themes here, it's kind of efficiency, safety, and compliance were some of the most cited benefits. So that's what people are in life sciences are interested in. Those are the biggest perceived benefits of their CMMS. And so then we started asking follow-up questions. So the next 10 slides or so are follow-up questions on each of these particular benefits. And so we'll go ahead and get into those details. All right, so the number one benefit that the users identified was increasing process efficiency. And so our follow-up question to those folks was, what is the primary cause of downtime in your current process? And you can see on the chart there, the kind of top 2 were delays in receiving spare parts and unscheduled equipment breakdowns. And so our tip here is essentially a digitized process really can help with that. It helps. You can use historical data to optimize the spare parts inventory management, along with automated reordering systems to avoid spare parts delays. So that number one problem is delays in receiving spare parts. A CMMS is really well suited for that. It can manage inventory and can auto-trigger reordering. So certainly a digital system is a big help in preventing that number one cause of downtime was the spare parts. And so that's something that CMMS is really well suited for. Okay. The number 2 benefit that was cited by the users was improved employee safety. And so we asked them, our follow-up question is, which safety risk can be most effectively mitigated by using a CMMS in your organization? And so you can see on the chart there that exposure to hazardous substances from faulty equipment was the number one risk that could be mitigated, and then equipment-related accidents due to the lack of maintenance. And so both of those things, are derived from some kind of equipment failure and exposing an employee to something hazardous. And so from a CMMS standpoint, implementing regular maintenance schedules to prevent accidents and reduce exposures to hazardous substances. So CMMS really automates and tracks those schedules and to ensure equipment is maintained. So not only are you fixing equipment, but those inspections, as part of a regular preventative maintenance schedule, you can catch those accidents before they happen. So when somebody's looking at the equipment to fix one thing, they may notice something else. So minimizing those types of accidents is really goes hand in hand with a robust preventative maintenance schedule. All right. Okay, the benefit number 3 that was identified by the users was improved regulatory compliance. So again, life sciences, a highly regulated industry, so a lot of focus here, a lot of concern on maintaining that type of compliance. And so we asked, which specific aspect of compliance is most challenging for your company? You can see the results there, pretty even spread. So documentation of all maintenance activities was identified as the number 1 aspect of regulatory compliance that was most challenging. And number 2 is meeting inspection requirements consistently. So documentation and consistency. And so when we think about that, automated systems, a digital automated system like a CMMS or other digital tools really help for scheduling and tracking inspections. So that type of consistency is inherent to the system. It is on a timer, it tells you, it reminds you, it sends the notifications to the correct people. So this helps maintain consistency and ensures the inspections are timely and properly recorded. Okay. Number 4 benefit that was identified by the users was enhanced equipment reliability. So which method do you believe is most effective for improving equipment reliability in your organization? And the top 2 responses here were, 1 was implementing regular preventative maintenance schedules, and 2 was conducting thorough equipment inspections. So similar to what we saw in one of the previous questions, but essentially this is highlighting that preventative maintenance is critical to ensure routine servicing and prevent unexpected breakdowns. So computerized systems automate both the scheduling and ensure accountability. So not only we talked a little bit about the automation factor of having a digital system and it can, keep people on schedule, but the accountability also, our system happens to be certified 21 CFR Part 11 is a big concern in these industries, a regulatory concern. It has to do with digital signatures and making sure the right people are approving the right processes. So in our system and computerized systems, that accountability is built in as well. When somebody clicks on it, it's the equivalent of a digital signature. And so if something goes wrong or somebody misses an inspection or something out of the ordinary happens, there's an accountability chain as well. Make sure that those types of errors don't happen multiple times. A digital system with digital signatures is really a twofold solution for enhancing equipment reliability. All right. Number 5, so better tracking, better training and certification tracking. So we had the question we asked, the follow-up was, what is the biggest challenge you face in tracking technician certifications and training? And you can see the number 1 answer there was ensuring compliance with certification requirements. And number 2 there was scheduling regular training sessions. So one of the things that a CMMS helps for is that a CMMS can actually be used. We have a bunch of customers of ours that use it in order to track their maintenance staff certifications. And then once you understand that this person's certification has a particular certification, you can automate the assignment of tasks to the correct people. So you don't want to assign a work order to somebody who doesn't have the certification for that particular type of equipment or process. So the system can be automated to say, only assign these types of tasks to these people who have the correct certifications. So that's really an automated way of doing it. The other nice part about a CMMS is that it can actually remind people before the certifications expire. So, whatever you want to set it for, say, okay, your certificate is going to expire 90 days from now. So, the first month you're going to get an email. Then when you get close, you're going to start getting a once a week email saying, hey, go make sure you re-up the certification so that it doesn't expire. And so it's a kind of a twofold solution. 1, assign the work only to people who have the right certifications. And 2, make sure that the employees and the staff are keeping their certifications up to date. So automated systems like a CMMS are really useful in that regard and specifically in tracking the certification trainings. All right. Number 6. So data-driven decision-making was one of the benefits that was identified by the user group here. So we asked, again, our follow-up question, which type of data would you find most useful to improve your maintenance strategies? And so you can see by a large margin that real-time maintenance activity logs was number 1 at 42%, and then followed by cost analysis at 21%. So essentially, people telling us what they want to see is the history of the maintenance activity logs. When were these things done? And I want a complete record of them, right? Real-time maintenance activity logs. And so, when you think about some companies are still using, manual processes, either, 3-ring binders or maybe some kind of spreadsheet or homegrown database. But when you really have a centralized digital system for activity logs, it enables real-time permission-based access as well as comprehensive historical data. And that really helps you with the improved decision-making. So having a centralized system that recording everything as it's happening and having other people be able to access that is really improving that data-driven decision-making. You have to have a centralized place to store data if you're going to hopefully make decisions based off of that. All right. Apologize there. My slides seem to be, there we go. Okay. Number 7 is the number 7 benefit that was identified by our users was the standardization of maintenance processes. So the follow-up question to this was, what is the most difficult challenge you have encountered in standardizing maintenance procedures across different sites? And so you can see from the results there that the number 1 answer was varying skill levels of maintenance staff. So similar to the certifications we were talking about, but different technicians or different maintenance staff have different capabilities in terms of what type of work orders they're able to open and close. So also the inconsistent maintenance documentation was number two, right? So different people fill out different forms or document things in different ways. And so from a CMMS standpoint, we say that, one of the best ways to address these top level issues is that the comprehensive training programs to address varying skill levels of maintenance staff. So if you train everybody the exact same way, then that raises the level of the entire staff, providing backups. There's a bunch of benefits to doing training, but it also ensures that people are doing things in a consistent manner, right? If you train them to fill out a form this way, or provide this type of data, or collect that type of information about some type of maintenance activity, that training ensures the consistency and also makes sure that everybody's doing things the same way. So a little bit of an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of the solution, right? So the training really helps solve these types of difficulties in the terms of standardization of the maintenance processes. All right. So the number 8 benefit that was addressed by our users was lowering equipment maintenance costs. So this one, to be honest, I was a little surprised. We sell a CMMS software solution, and we talk about costs a lot with our customer base and potential customers. Once people are using the system, the cost actually seems to not be as big of a concern, right? So lowering the equipment maintenance cost was the number 8 benefit that people identified. And so our follow-up question here was, in which area do you believe the CMMS could most significantly reduce costs? And so in terms of cost savings, you can see the kind of 2 clear-cut winners were equipment repair and replacement expenses, and labor costs. So the repair cost and then the maintenance cost, the labor cost as well. And so one of the things you can think about from a CMMS standpoint is that when you have a comprehensive preventative maintenance program, it not only minimizes some of those costlier repairs, but it also extends the equipment lifespans. So you're doing less repairs in a preventative maintenance. There's hundreds of studies around that kind of a break fix mentality, or only fix things once they become a problem, in the long run is not a cost-effective solution. Preventative maintenance is a significantly more cost-effective way of doing things. Don't let things break down, or stay on top of it before they break down. Much more cost-effective. In addition to that, when you're regularly maintaining equipment, it'll last longer, just like your automobile or anything you have, any kind of home equipment you may have. That replacement cost can obviously be significant depending on the type of equipment that these manufacturers in life sciences are using. So making sure they're well maintained has a huge impact in terms of cost savings, and assuming you don't have to replace those. If you can extend the life of a couple $1 million piece of equipment by 5 years or 10 years just by doing maintenance, that pencils out to a significant amount of cost savings. Okay. Number 9. So the number 9 benefit that was identified by our users was enhanced maintenance documentation. And so our follow-up to that was, what do you believe is the biggest benefit of digitizing documentation for a life sciences manufacturer? And you can see it's a pretty even split across the different answers, but the number 1 answer there was enhanced accuracy and reduction of human errors. So that's at 33%. You can see some of the others there. So easier access to documentation during the audits, improved traceability, and faster retrieval and sharing of records. So one of the things that obviously a digital system is really good at is organizing data. And so when we talk about that, for us, we use a thing called digital forms. So a lot of times a life science manufacturer will have a very particular process that they're working on. They say, okay, when you do this process, you have to fill out this form. And so with CERDAC, with our CMMS, we have a thing that we call digital forms. We typically mimic what the manufacturer has been using, and we can make some improvements upon that by digitizing it. And so what digital forms allow you to do is standardize those input templates. So you make sure everybody has to fill out certain forms. And it also has field validation. So you can make a field required. You cannot submit this form unless this particular field is filled out. And you can also have some logic built into those. So we see a lot like, if this calibration is out of tolerance, then you need to fill out some other fields that say, why is it out of calibration? When was the last time it was calibrated? What was done about that? So there's some logic that can be built into those digital into those digital forms as well. And so having a digital system really enhances that documentation. You can standardize things, you can make things required, you can add extra logic to them. So maintenance documentation in the CMMS with smart digital forms is a huge step forward in terms of documentation, and clearly enhances the accuracy and reduces those human errors, which was the number one identified problem. Okay. Number 10, so the final benefit that was identified was it simplifies audit support. So of our 300 users, this was identified as another benefit, simplifies the audit support. We said, what aspects of preparing for audits do you find the most challenging? And you can see a fairly even split across these, but compiling all the necessary maintenance records and getting accurate compliance reports kind of ranked as the two highest aspects of preparing for audits that they find most challenging. And again, similar to what we just discussed on the last slide, but digital tools are really built to securely manage and organize vast amounts of documentation. So it helps both speed up the audit process as well as improve the accuracy. So a digital system is almost critical for audits. And so, 5-10 years ago, an auditor would come in and say, hey, I need to see this record. I want to see this one. You'd say, okay, we'll get it to you by end of day. We'll get it to you tomorrow. And you can check it then. That is largely a relic of the past, right? Today, when an auditor asks you for something, an FDA auditor, or even maybe a supplier or somebody else that's doing an audit, they expect that information much, much more quickly than that, usually within the hour, if not, minutes. And so having a digitalized system like a CMMS can help significantly improve that response time, sorting through massive amounts of documents, search functions. You can search by all sorts of different fields. So having everything digitized and in one centralized location is a huge benefit for audit support. Okay, so that's the top 10. So a little bit of additional resources. So most of what we talked about today is actually in one of our ebooks. So we published this earlier this year, a bit more detailed in the ebook. We were, kind of a half-hour webinar here, so kind of sped through things pretty quickly. But if you want more details, you can go to our website. You can see the link down there at the bottom. So this is all from the 2024 Top CMMS Benefits for Life Sciences report. We have a slew of other ebooks on there as well, if there's other interesting topics. Another one that's relevant to this discussion is the 2024 State of Maintenance in Life Sciences Manufacturing. Also similarly based on a survey result. So we had a similar methodology, finding CMMS users in manufacturing and asking them a bunch of questions about how they're using that CMMS. So you can see some additional aspects of our research efforts and kind of dive into more details going to the website and downloading the ebooks there. Okay, so that wraps it up. That's, how did I do? So 24 minutes in, so pretty good on the timing. I said that we had roughly 5 minutes left for Q&A. I can't see them on my screen, but Kim, did we get any folks asking questions?
Yes, we did, Jan. Thanks. We had Josh from San Diego send in a question. It's pertaining to your earlier slide, and it's a two-part question. For the rankings of the top benefits, are those specific to life sciences companies? And the second part is, in your experience, are these rankings different from other industries?
That's a good question. So yes, so these results are specific to those life sciences companies. So those demographics we gave before, yeah, so it's 300 people that all work in life sciences. These are self-identified, right? So we ask them, what industry do you work in? These were the results they gave us. These are the departments they gave us. And you can see the company size there too. So these results on this slide are specific to those 300 responses. So yes, definitely life sciences for this data set. In terms of, is this different than other industries? We haven't done a direct apples to apples, but I was a bit surprised when I saw some of these results. I think I mentioned on one of my slides, like this cost one is pretty low. Well, I shouldn't say low, but 35% of people still select this as one of their top 4 benefits. But you can kind of see, I think in the life sciences, in terms of safety and compliance, you see rank really high. And I think that those are likely specific to life sciences. We do a lot of aerospace and defense. We have customers in kind of heavy industries as well. Kind of a wider swath of customers that CERDAC deals with. We do a lot of life sciences work as well. But I think you can see safety and compliance are key issues. I don't know if those would rank as high in other industries as they do in life sciences. And then the cost one as well, like I mentioned that, um, you know, we're a commercial business. We sell software, so we're constantly in conversations about the cost of things with potential clients. And so once it's in use, it doesn't seem to be of a huge. It's lower on the rankings than I would have guessed. Um, but I think hopefully that answers the question. So yes, life sciences. Am I surprised by some of these? A few of them a little bit. Although, the benefits of having all of your digital documentation and processes managed in a centralized location, I think a lot of those benefits translate regardless of what type of industry you're in.
Great, thanks so much, Jan. Right now, we do not have any additional questions, so we will let everyone go and hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.